All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you live. It is, oh, where's my phone? Where's my phone? 8/17, January 20th, Sunday night. It is a whopping 4 degrees here in Duluth, Minnesota. We had a little bit of snow today. It was nice. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Let's like and subscribe as always. This is going out to everybody, whether I've closed my Patreon account. Videos are all available here on YouTube. I'm going to Zelly as a payment method, so you can send me a one-time payment, or you can set a reoccurring monthly reminder to remind you hey, pay Mr. Mean. I'm going to a flat $10 fee. No tiers or anything like that. It's just flat $10 or whatever you want to send me. Help. Even if you send me a penny, hey, that's a penny I didn't have before. So I want to give a big shout out to G Kanks on my Discord channel. He's also a subscriber. He has followed me tried and true through this, and he's been one of my very first Patreon subscribers. And he pointed out to Zelly, Patreon's doing a couple things that I'm not really crazy about, and G Kanks pointed it out, and I agree with him completely, and it's just not the platform for me, and I don't want to support it. On top of that, Zelly gives me my money right away. If you pay me right now, within an hour, the money will be in my account, which is a lot more useful than Patreon taking 3 to 4 days, sometimes longer to get a payment to you. So tonight, I posted a video, and I'll put a link in the doobly-doo later on. This is live, just because it's easy to record that way, and then I can just push it out. YouTube will take care of all the gubbins and everything that they do, the video processing and everything, and it'll go live. So this is going to go to everybody. I'll post it on several of the different channels on MeWe that I'm on. I closed my Facebook account as well. So if you're looking for me on Facebook and I'm no longer there, shocker, I've been off Facebook for about 3 months now, and couldn't be happier. Facebook to me is a toxic environment. If you're having fun with it, hey, good for you. I don't like it. I don't like the ads. I don't like the people on there, with all their crap and political statements and everything. MeWe works for me because it's the only things I want to see. And I only let people in who I know or who I'm associated with through other friends. And I like it. So anyway, big shout out to MeWe. Very happy with them. Nerds International, my brothers are on MeWe as well. So go check us out there. There's links to a lot of good shows and everything. I see somebody's watching, and I already got a thumbs up. So awesome. Thank you. Say hi in the chat there, because I don't know who's watching. It doesn't tell me. So hopefully you can hear me okay. You can see me okay. Tonight's video du jour is, I've gotten a lot of various feedback and stuff, and I wanted to kind of go over it, and I just felt it was a good thing to do since it's the new year. I put out the Warhammer 4th edition fantasy role-playing game by Cubicle 7. It's right here, and I did a video du jour. We went through the PDF. We went through the physical book. I talked all about it, and it's 4th edition, and there seems to be some confusion in the land as to the editions. And so I wanted to kind of put that to rest, because I've had a couple people jump on the messages there on the YouTubes and say, oh, no, wrong. Sorry, going to call you out. It's wrong. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm man enough to say I'm wrong, but I believe I'm right. And if I am wrong, so be it. But let's go over it. So I'm gonna get these over here. I do not own the Fantasy Flight abomination that they tried to call Warhammer Fantasy, with its funky dice and its little cardboard this and bleh. That was not Warhammer Fantasy. That was a board game with the trappings of Warhammer. And while the art on it was very cool, and I love Fantasy Flight, they do amazing work, I didn't like it. Nope, not a fan of it. So doesn't count. Oh, well, it counts as far as the edition wars go. In my eyes, doesn't count as a version of Warhammer. So this is Warhammer 1st edition. And you say, but John, how do you know? Because I can't find my second edition book. It is in a box somewhere. The reason we know is that the differences between first edition and second edition is second edition added willpower. First edition had cool and willpower. And they got rid of it in the second edition. The magic was refreshed in second edition. They made it a little bit better, and they added talents. First edition doesn't have talents. So this is the first edition of Warhammer. It is printed by Games Workshop. It was 1988. Well, it was actually originally printed in 1986 and then reprinted in 88. A second print run, basically. 86 to 89, and then they came out with a second edition at I think late 89, early 1990, and that was it had talents. They got rid of cool, and it had a better magic system, and your percentage or your bonuses went from +10 and everything to only a +5, and then you could go in +5 increments. But so that's first edition. The second edition, which we just talked about. And then there was a reprint, and this is what I think is confusing a lot of people, why they want to say there's more editions or not. Hogshead Publishing, which was a small publishing company, got the license to reprint a lot of stuff from Games Workshop and some of the stuff that was printed in black libraries. And there was a fanzine, and Strike to Stun, I think it was called. They printed some of that stuff. But Hogshead Publishing, awesome company. I actually did some work. I did some play testing for them back in the day, and they actually gave me a bunch of free stuff to go to conventions, and they gave me a bunch of handouts. I think I've even got one of the books down there. I'm not sure. I'll have to look later. I should have grabbed it when I was grabbing everything, but I don't want to put my big wide ass up on the screen right now. But anyway, Hogshead Publishing reprinted second edition. All they did was clean it up a little bit. They didn't make any huge changes. There were no major rules changes. In fact, it had the same cover. It even said second edition, I think, inside of it. I have that copy. Again, it's in a box somewhere, and I can't find it. But it was just a reprint of second edition. And it was very well done, and everything was cool. And so that was a reprint of second edition. It wasn't anything major, nothing super cool. Then came Fantasy Flight, got the license, and they did their board game. I don't know what you call it. It was the first game to use in Fantasy Flight's thing to use their funky dice. They used a lot of D8s with symbols on them and stuff. And so there were no numbers, and they used character boards instead of a character sheet. The game started failing shortly after it came out. Nowadays, if you look in the game stores and stuff, you can find it in the discount bin for dirt cheap. They realized it was sinking fast. I mean, they did sell a lot of copies because it was Warhammer. Why wouldn't you? I'm telling you, I came real close to buying it too, and I saw that it was character boards, and there was no GM screen, and I was like, this is a tabletop game. This is not a role playing game. And then I got proprietary dice, heresy. I did play it, was not a fan of it. It did not give me that feel of Warhammer. Now, some of that is the GM, some of that is me. I just didn't like it. That's just my personal take. Your mileage may vary. You may have played it and went, wow, this is the greatest game ever. Cool. I'm glad you had fun. But Fantasy Flight knew it was failing, so they went from a box set. And it was a cool box set. Don't get me wrong. You got a bunch of stuff in there for your $150. I think it was $125 for the main box set. And then they started coming out with character packs and different character classes and these little box sets that would add all the cards. And I think even some of them might have had some extra dice in them or something. It was crazy. But then they realized the sales were failing, and it wasn't the Warhammer that us grognards wanted. And so they condensed it into some books, and it was a pretty thick book. And it was called I think there was the GM book and a player's book, and they were relatively thick, hardback, excellent quality. And I will say that if I see those at a bargain basement place or a used bookstore, I probably will pick them up just to have them in my collection. I don't own them. Like I said, I bypassed the whole thing. I had no interest in it. I see we have 2 people viewing right now. Good evening. Feel free to jump on the chat and say hi. I don't even know if my chat's working. Boop. There we go. Hey, long shot. I hear you. See and hear you just fine. Thank you, long shot. Is akin to D&D 4th edition. Sad face. Yes. Yes, it was long shot. I call it the abomination. It is the chaos. Chaos firmly got in there. Sigmar was not able to fight off the powers of chaos, and Fantasy Flight produced that abomination. That is not Warhammer, in my opinion. But anyway, we digress. So then we get to the 3rd edition of Warhammer, which is near and dear to my heart. I play tested it. I loved it. And for those of you that are on the fence right now, whether or not to pick up Cubicle 7's version, 4th edition, buy it. Don't judge. But if you say, John, I've got limited hobby money, and I've got a ton of Green Ronin Black Library Warhammer stuff, do I need Cubicle 7's version of Warhammer? The answer is no. And why do I say that? Well, first of all of these books are readily available. You can still buy them. Drive-Thru RPG sells them in PDF. You can still find copies of this floating around at like your used bookstores, eBay. They're not ridiculously priced. I think last time I looked, Amazon still had some of these. Now, some of the books, like the clerical book, the priest book, I can't remember what it's called. That was at the end of the lifespan of Green Ronin's license with Games Workshop, and so it is hard to get. It is extremely rare. What's Longshot saying here? I have Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, but I haven't had a chance to try it yet. The book is beautiful. Yes, Longshot, it is. Runeslinger is another fellow YouTuber that he lives in Korea, I believe, and he did an unboxing of the collector's edition. And gosh, I wish I would have got in on it. I kick myself for not getting it now, but I wasn't working at the time, and I was relying on my Patreon money to buy my hobby stuff, and so I just couldn't afford it. But my Patrons did help me get this version, which I'm very happy to have. So thank you guys. But this is the 3rd edition of Warhammer Fantasy. Long shot, I'm sorry, you're wrong. That was the 3rd. Yeah. 1st and 2nd. Hogshead was a reprint. 3rd. Wait, I'm confusing myself now. GW put out the 1st edition, which had cool in it as a power and did not have talents. They put out 2nd edition. Right. That's right. Yeah, we're right. Hogshead did a reprint of 2nd edition, which is not technically a new edition, although they did clean up some stuff, but they didn't fine tune or tweak any mechanics. 4th edition or 3rd edition was the Warhammer by Fantasy Flight. 4th edition is this. This is technically 5th edition, although they say it's 4th edition. I don't know why they say that, because like I said, Warhammer 1st edition was a different version and different rule mechanics than 2nd edition Warhammer. But I guess they're just saying it because it was produced by Games Workshop. It's same. So technically, in my eyes, this is 5th edition from Cubicle 7, because we had the two copies from Games Workshop. We had the 3rd edition from. Oh, I get where they're going. They, like me, they don't count the Fantasy Flight version because it technically was a board game. If you look at the components, it would be considered a board game because there wasn't a character sheet. It came in a box. It's a board game. So yeah, so we're okay. We're on track. So this is technically the 3rd edition of Warhammer. This is the Green Ronin version. This version is completely playable. It still works to this day. And the books are